Hello ladies and gentlemen, it is Colbert here with another edition of the Colbert Vape Report, and today I have for you a PSA of sorts. I'm talking about the Aspire Coils. Now this goes for the BVC coils, but more so for the Atlantis coils. Now if you didn't know, there are some issues with the new Aspire Atlantis coils. They use a ceramic wicking material inside the heads that is very, very fine fibers, up to 1 to 3 microns in diameter, and these can break loose and have a potential to lodge in your throat and lungs. Now, Aspire has released a statement regarding this, and it goes as such. Recently, there has been some talk about the material used in our Atlantis atomizers. We at Aspire have paid high attention to this discussion. To clarify the facts and set records straight, we at Aspire would like to take this opportunity to give you information about the coils. On the outside of the if you're looking at the inside of the coil head, on the very outside there is your stainless steel screen on the top, and that is to keep the wicking in the casing and prevent excess e-liquid from spitting up back into the chamber. It's also to keep the little ceramic fibers from dislodging and going into your mouth. Then from that you have the Kanthal and the non-resistance wire in the middle of the coil. On the direct outside of the coil you have a small sheet of organic cotton. In between that you have a ceramic paper, which is Aspire's calling it, which is patented, and on the outside you also have cotton. So pretty much you have, going from the outside in, you have cotton, a ceramic pad, a small piece of cotton, and then your Kanthal. So what happens when that small piece of cotton inside the head burns away? What are you left with? Well, you're left with ceramic fibers. And the ceramic fibers can be very dangerous if they are dislodged. We don't know the exact health effects that this could cause, but people have been noticing that they've been getting sore throats after using these coils. And it is more apparent in the Aspire coils because you are using a higher temperature and you are generally using more airflow than you would on a Nautilus. Considering the Nautilus usually run 12 to 14 watts, some people are running the Atlantis up to 45 watts. Here's what else they have to say. The design of the Atlantis coil was done to maximize proficiency of e-liquid delivery and vaporization along the optimum use of materials for their duty. The design is proficient in keeping all materials saturated at sub-ohm levels, which increases the life of the atomizer, and it is a patented ceramic paper which has been tested by SGS and shows there are no harmful chemicals or off gases according to the international standards currently. However, these standards are not tested for inhalation. There have really been no tests on the dangers of inhalation of ceramic wicking material when it dry burns and when it dislodges and goes into the throat and the lungs. When you get into 1 to 3 microns in size, there is a good chance that this can be lodged deep into your lungs, especially with the Atlantis coils. High wattage, high airflow, you're breathing very deep into your lungs. They said that the ceramic paper in question has been fully encased in organic cotton and has a screen to keep the wicking material in place. Yes, that screen is there, but there has been, even in my case, there has been times where I've got the wicking material in my mouth, not juice, but the wicking material. If you wipe down the inside of the chimney, you'll find wicking material in there as well sometimes. As with any modern day atomizer, as long as it's properly used and kept saturated, it will perform as designed. In the end, Aspire will spend more time communicating with customers and friends to further educate and actively listen to your feedback. Pretty much they're just trying to cover their ass. First it came out that the chimney piece on the inside was chrome-plated brass, which is true. They are supposed to be doing a revision, sending out units that are milled out of complete stainless steel instead of chrome-plated brass, because inhaling brass is not good for you either. But I really think that Aspire should release an all-organic cotton coil. Since the Kanger sub-ohm tank has all-organic cotton, I do not see why Aspire cannot do the same, and they should do it for the Nautilus coils as well, just because the Nautilus is in such high use. Although there's not as much of a danger because there's not as much surface area, airflow, and temperature as there is on the Atlantis, there might still be a potential problem with the actual Nautilus coils. Now in the meantime, I suggest you go and look at a rebuild video. James Martin from Inside Vaping did a great rebuild for the Aspire Atlantis. You take the stock coil and you reuse the stock coil because it uses Kanthal and resistance wire on both sides. You just take out the stock coil, take out the ceramic pad and cotton all together, and rewick it with your own organic cotton. I'll put a link to that video down in the description. If you have an Atlantis, I highly suggest you do that. because this ceramic wick could potentially be dangerous to your health. All right, guys, I hope you learned something today. I thought I would give you this little public service announcement. In the meantime, until they fix this, make sure that you rebuild your own coils. It would be much safer. I view you get better flavor and a better vape off rebuilt coils anyway. All right, guys, stay safe. I will see you in the next video, and as always, happy vaping.